to today's video. I am standing up today instead of sitting down. I don't know, I've just been filming videos all day long and I've been standing in the kitchen, so I just feel like, honestly, it's a move of laziness because all of my video equipment is set up for me to be standing. So I just figured I'd leave it all in the same place. I'm actually making, here I'll show you, I'll grab this off the counter. I just made some blueberry muffins and I'm doing a side-by-side comparison of like regular, like plain old random regular blueberry muffins compared to like a healthified version with whole wheat and no oil. So I'm interested to see how that'll turn out. But anyway, that's what I've been doing, and it has nothing to do with the topic of today's video, which is loosely held strong opinions. I cannot remember where this is from, but it's based on a conversation that I've been having about loosely held strong opinions. I had a realization yesterday that the status of my opinions has gone through 3 stages. And I don't know if this is a function of aging or not. I feel like there are probably more than these 3 stages that I'm about to explain. I feel like I'm only in my 30s. Maybe when I'm in my 40s or 50s, I'll hit like new levels of opinion holding. But as so far, I feel like my life has been going through these opinion stages. So when I was a teenager and in my early 20s, I had very strong opinions. I saw the world in black and white, and I didn't have a lot of real world information because I was young, I didn't know as much. So it was very easy to have very firm opinions on things and not see the nuance and the shades. So as such, I was combative, argumentative, very passionate about the things that I felt. So, you know, whether it was political or other things that I felt strongly about, I had a stance where I'm right and you're wrong, and I need to help you see that you're wrong so that you can see that I'm right, and then you can also be right. It's a very combative stance to take, but I had very strong opinions all the same. So that was kind of like the first phase that I recall going through. And as I got into my 20s and a little bit older, pretty much all throughout my 20s, that hard stance began to soften and actually go in the total opposite direction, where I felt like I lost, as I gained knowledge about the world, I lost those firm opinions because it just, as you get information, you realize, oh, maybe I'm not right about everything, or maybe things are gray, things aren't black and white. So as such, I went in the other direction where I felt like I didn't have a strong opinion on virtually anything, anything of substance. So again, going to things like politics, it's like, okay, well, I think what I think and you think what you think, and that's totally fine. And what I think is flexible and open to change, because I just had this understanding that there is so much that I don't understand. There's so much that I don't know, such that it kind of knocked me off of my opinions entirely. And I was in a place where I was like, anything could be true. It's kind of like there are intelligent people on both sides of any argument. So when you're listening to intelligent people discuss politics on either side, you're like, okay, well, you're kind of right and you're kind of right. And I don't really have a stance because I see that there's rightness on both sides and wrongness on both sides as well. So I found it difficult to take a stance. And the benefit of that, I suppose, is that I mellowed in my combativeness. I didn't have the stance where I'm right and I need to convert you to my way of thinking. It was very accepting, you do you, I do me. I don't even know how I really feel or where I really stand on things. So it was a very flexible state. And now I feel like I'm sort of getting into this third state of opinion, which is the subject title, Loosely Held Strong Opinions, where I've collected more knowledge than I had in my 20s, to the extent that I feel like I'm beginning to reform my opinions. It's not in a way where I see things in black and white the way that I did when I was a teenager, because I understand that there's nuance, but I also am starting to gain ground on the things that I believe in. I'm starting to get a sense of, no, this is what I stand for. Whereas the second stage that I really felt throughout my 20s is kind of a sort of ambiguous, amorphous, like I didn't really stand for anything. Now I'm starting to enter this phase where I feel like, no, I have opinions. I'm standing for them. I have values that I adhere, that I stand up for and defend. But in such a way where I also acknowledge that the other person who I might be talking to could have a different opinion, and that opinion to them is perfectly right. So it's more of an empathetic stance where I'm not trying to convert you with my opinion, where I'm saying, well, I'm right and you're wrong. One example of this would be entrepreneurship. So through most of my life, I'm like, why would anyone want a real job? It just didn't make sense to me. It's like someone working a 9 to 5 was somehow inferior to someone who was working for themselves, who had their own business. That was the way I saw it. And as I've kind of gained life experience, I've sort of been able to start seeing, okay, well, that's not true. Someone who's working a 9 to 5 job can be ridiculously happy, and that could be exactly what fulfills them. Just because something that fulfills me, just because it's something that would fulfill me to have my own business, does not mean that that translates to every other human. Every other human does not need to abide by my own values. You might have a different set of values. So your decision to work a 9 to 5 job could be completely in line with your values, your beliefs, and exactly what's right for you. So it's softer in the sense that I feel a lot less combative than I used to still, but I'm developing the ground and the foundation of really getting a sense of what my own values are, what I believe in, and having opinions that I stand for. But the loosely held part, I think, is really important, because if you're clinging tightly to your opinions, if your opinions are tethered to your identity, such that they cannot separate, then having those opinions threatened or challenged can feel like a personal threat. And that's when defensiveness happens, that's when argumentativeness happens, and I'm still pretty bad at this. I get sensitive, and it's difficult for me to sometimes detach from those opinions. But if you hold them loosely, not tightly, then that allows you to continue to expand your knowledge, because you're going to really be listening to people with other opinions. You're going to accept that your opinions, though they feel the most true for you at that moment, can and probably should evolve over time. I would love to think that I'm the kind of person where if I have an opinion and I have a discussion with you and you have a different opinion and you have really good points and information that I hadn't considered, that I would be flexible enough to change my opinion and modify it, as opposed to inserting my identity into that opinion and getting all wrapped up in it, and thus not easily being able to change my opinion, even if I'm wrong. So right and wrong, I mean, that's kind of its own other discussion, but I'd like to, one of the values that I hold strongly is truth. So whatever it's important to hold those opinions loosely in order to find the truth, because I love talking to different people with different opinions on things, because it just allows me to connect deeper to either strengthen the values and the beliefs and opinions that I already hold, or to shake them up a bit and modify them so they become more meaningful and more solid, but still loosely held and disconnected from my identity. I am not my opinions. I am not my beliefs. You are not your opinions. You are not your beliefs. They're just something we have. And I feel like when I'm able to view it like that, and this is something that I'm starting to lean into, then I can engage in a debate or a discussion with someone who has a totally different opinion without it getting personal, without defensiveness, without attacking, without feeling threatened, feeling attacked. And that's how real growth and learning occurs. So I just wanted to share that with you today. I'll catch you tomorrow.